That's alright. A little delayed, but... Oh, still. Let me take these off. What a day, dude. What a day. I mean, like, it's the beginning of this stream. I think you already kind of know what I'm talking about. Oof. Just gotta share this on, alright. Yet again, another day. I did not let anyone know that I was streaming today. I really should get better at that, but or maybe I'll just learn the hard way and like not. I guess like not having anybody like show up because I just never announce the streams to anybody. Let's see. Well, I guess I'm just gonna start rambling. Until people come in. That's usually how this works, anyways. Hey, what's up, Supreme? How you doing, bud? It's funny. I almost didn't do a stream today. I was like this close to not doing it. Not for like any technical reason. I'm just kind of bummed out right now. I'm just, yeah. The whole news with Henry Cavill not coming back as Superman, or like even getting like a swan song movie is, it's kind of tough on me. I mean, I'm sure it's tough on Henry Cavill, but it's kind of silly. Like, I don't know, like Man of Steel, I know has like a lot of problems, and I know a lot of people like aren't really into it as much as I am, but that movie meant a lot to me growing up. Like, and I had this a lot with comics. Not so much with movies, but Man of Steel was like one of the very few movies I had this with. And like a lot of people talk about this too, where they have like movies that they like really like emotionally connect with, like it like really meant something to them, and it kind of, I don't want to shape their, I don't want to say shape their identity, but it did. I would say it like shaped my identity a little bit, because art tends to do that. Art is transformative, so um, art has that effect on people, but. Yeah, like Man of Steel came out in like a really rough time in my life. I was, without getting too deep into it, in a place where it was really hard seeing any sort of light at the end of the tunnel. Like most teenagers, I suppose, but it was real rough, and I remember watching Man of Steel, and the part with the world engine, like the whole movie, I'm like kind of in it, like more so than just like any other superhero movie at that time, like Captain America, First Avenger, cool, the Spider-Man movies, cool, but like Man of Steel, like I'm in it, and I'm in it. But the bit where Superman is talking with General Swanwick and Emil Hamilton and Lois, and there's that great bit where Lois brings out the ship that Clark arrived on Earth in, and they're running down the plan on how they're going to get the Phantom Zone war criminals back into the Phantom Zone, and Henry just walks down the runway, and not runway. I mean, he kind of catwalked a little bit, but now he has this like strut. It was like a very Superman specific kind of strut. It just something about his confidence, something about the way he talked. It was all very inspirational to me. And the real thing that just kind of, the part of Man of Steel that made me go, this guy's Superman. It's when Superman's about to go off and stop the world engine from tearing up the Indian Ocean, and Lois like stops him. And she like grabs his arm and says, "Whoa, hey, but if you go there, you could die." Like, this machine's whole purpose is making Earth like Krypton. You go to that machine will essentially kill you, because the entire purpose of it is making Kryptonians vulnerable and fleshy. Like, you will die if you do this. And Clark just stops, and he looks down, and then he looks at Lois and says, "True, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from trying." That, like, that moment meant so much to me as a, how old I have been. I think it was maybe like 15 or 16 when the movie came out. So yeah, like I know, like, being like an impressionable 16-year-old and like seeing Superman just like walking into like essentially the valley of the shadow of death and saying, I know the possibilities, but this has got to happen. And I can't let the possibility of something bad happening deter me from at least trying. And I took that into like every aspect of my life after that. So, yeah, I don't know, that movie just means a lot to me. Henry Cavill's Superman means a lot to me personally. So I don't know. That's why I'm kind of like heartbroken right now. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see some chats. Oh, what's up, Omega? What's up, Derby? It's Snyder's fault. He was awfully written. I still disagree with that. I thought it was brilliantly written. He felt like Superman to me. Well, I don't know. I think you can do an older Superman. In fact, that's kind of the whole deal with the current run that Philip Kennedy Johnson is working on. He's really playing with the fact that Superman has been in comics for a while. He has a teenage son. Superman's just gotten older, and the comics like really playing up that idea of like he's an old man now. But that's not bad. It just means he's like reached this like legendary status, or I guess veteran status, and he's like seen as like a legend in the eyes of the entire galaxy at this point. I like that a lot. I'm really kind of into the current state of Superman. It's really kind of selling me on the idea of Superman being older, you know, which is something that I'm like just not historically in love with. Personally, this is just my perspective. I much prefer superhero stories about younger superheroes, because superheroism is, it just feels like a young man's kind of game, you know? That whole idea of I'm gonna fix the world by dressing up in a costume and punching its problems. That feels like a very, late teens, early 20s perspective of the world. Which is why I always kind of think it's better to have Superman, particularly Superman, but Batman, Spider-Man, all those other characters, be young, um, and like kind of grow into like a more, I don't want to say jaded mindset, but like a their mindset kind of changes, like their perspective on what they're doing changes as they would get older. Um, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of the current stuff that DC's doing with these characters, really kind of doing away with the whole idea of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman uh, needing to be forever 25 or I guess 35, um, and go like, Batman, he's like 40 something. Superman, he's got a teenager son. Like, he's like 40 something. It's fine. Like allowing these characters to like really age, I think is something really kind of cool. And I wasn't originally on board with that idea, but I'm liking what I'm seeing done with it currently. So yeah, Superman is a dilf now. Yeah, really, he is. Did you see the Mikel Yanin concept art for Superman and the Authority, where he's got like my man's got the whole like Reed Richards going? That was really dope. Although I really do like the costume that he has in the actual Superman and the Authority comic. You ever get like a shiver down your spine? Weird. But yeah, no, the costume that he has in that book is really cool. I kind of wish that was Superman's standard costume, just in continuity. I am one of those people. I do think the Superman costume should change at this point. But I have a whole thing with superhero costumes. I think superheroes should change their costumes as they get older and as they, I'll say, reach new heights in their legend. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Superman costume should definitely change and reflect a Clark Kent who is significantly older now. Yeah, Man, it left a heavy impression on me as a kid. Um, I actually like BVS, the Ultimate Cut. Yeah, no, I'm really into the Ultimate Cut. I talked about this last week. I've been on this real uh, philosophical kind of kick of debating the ethics of deontology and teleology. And I think narratively speaking, I'm very partial to teleological ethics. Don't know why, but I'm just kind of fascinated by that idea of even when you do the right thing, the wrong thing still happens. Yeah, and those Snyder movies are steeped heavily in teleological ethics. Like Man of Steel, Jor-El saves his son, but by the time you get to like BVS and the Zack Snyder Justice League, you find out that he inadvertently, in one timeline, doomed the entire planet to Darkseid's invasion. Or in BVS, like Bruce has a whole thing where he wants to save the world from like the potential threat that Superman represents, but in doing so, he kind of like sets in motion this whole chain of events where even after he sobers up and realizes that he's in the wrong, he lays the groundwork for Superman dying. And that opens up the planet to invasion from Steppenwolf, which there's a whole thing there too. Like, so I don't know. Those films are like steeped heavily in teleological ethics, and I'm fascinated by that. And I don't know. I just don't really see any other director having the balls to do that with these characters in a mainstream entertainment medium. But yeah, I don't know. I was really into it, but whatever. It's over now. Derpy says, so James Gunn's Superman film reboot will focus on a young Clark Kent as a reporter at Metropolis. Yeah, that does give me like some heavy Max Fleischer vibes. If it is like a total reboot, honestly, and this might be controversial. I kind of hope they go in the same realm as Max Landis' American Alien. Specifically issues. God damn it. Is it 6? It's the one drawn by Jay Lee. That was a beautiful issue. I loved it. That's where Clark meets Dick Grayson and Lex Luthor. And Lex has this like whole speech about like his philosophy. He's a very like Randian. Fuck, is it Ayn Rand? Ayn Rand? I don't fucking know. But like he's like Lex Luthor is like very heavily inspired by Ayn Rand in the Landis verse. So, you know, I would like be really interested in seeing like if we're gonna have like a Superman story that's like focused more on the journalism, I'd be like down for something like that. Yeah, definitely. American Alien is the greatest of all time. It definitely is. It really is. Oh, what's up, Tev? Yeah, it is issue 6. Yeah, American Alien's so good. It just kind of sucks that Max Landis. Oh, god damn it, dude! Just everything surrounding that was pain. Not just for me. I'm sure for the woman involved as well. But Jesus, man. I wish we got more of that universe in comics. I mean, I know he's doing the whole like American Alien Kryptonian epic on YouTube, but it's not really. I don't know, it's just not the same. It's not the same. Omega says, I think the problem with the old Superman is he kind of was like that in Silver Age, and it feels like things repeating itself. How so? Oh, I don't think I quite get what you're. I'm not quite scooping what you're pooping, unless you're referring to something that I said earlier. Derpy says, give me the Golden Age black in the middle of the costume design from the Max Fleischer cartoon. Oh yeah, dude, that is like that is peak Superman symbol design. That is perfect. I love that costume. That's why Tyler Hoechlin's Superman costume from the pilot of Superman and Lois is peak live action Superman. For me, that's the best Superman's looked in live action. Period. That one like 2-minute scene where you see Clark leaving Smallville and going to Metropolis. That is peak live action Superman, and it is unfortunately the best that show ever is. I mean, Superman and Lois is fine, but like going from a golden age inspired Superman and then going like, and 20 years later he has teenage sons, and it's like, oh god, I don't care. Oh Jesus. Oh. And now we're going to go to Smallville. Do you want to see about the like Lana Lang and her new husband and her daughters, the Cushings, the family drama? No. Okay. All right. So the real thing that drags Superman and Lois down for me is that it's basically just Smallville 2.0, and I don't like Smallville, so yeah. Omega says, now every Superman family member wears a jacket. Do you think Superman also needs a jacket? Like, what kind of modern style Superman shit? Oh, you talking about the Dan Mora promo art? Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Everyone was like freaking out and just like raving about it. I don't like the fact that the Super Family has matching costumes. I don't like the jackets. Like, Connor looks cool in a leather jacket. Keenan, I think the design looks cool, I guess, but this is some real Smallville shit. And as I've said plenty times before, I do not like Smallville. Get that shit out of here. Get it out. Although luckily it looks like John's going to be wearing the electric blue Superman costume. That could potentially be pretty cool. Could potentially give John Kent something to do outside of be gay, which is like literally just his entire personality. Well, no, be gay and complain about Dad not doing enough, even though Dad is literally Superman. I know editors don't really do their jobs anymore, but just like, who thought that was a good idea? An editorial, just who like read that and said, yeah, this gets a pass from me. The fuck, dude. Yeah, we really don't know what James Gunn is going to do with Superman, but I will say, James Gunn is one of my favorite directors. He's also one of my favorite writers. If I'm not mistaken, James Gunn wrote The Suicide Squad. And for me, The Suicide Squad is the best superhero movie to come out the past couple years. One, it's memorable. Which isn't saying much, but yeah, but two, he really does a good job of balancing the quirky, comic booky superhero action and the real, like, down to earth social commentary about the military industrial complex and not Black Ops missions, but I guess kind of Black Ops missions. I think they're called wet missions. Is what wet works type missions. Stuff like that. So James Gunn does a really good job of like taking those two like worlds and narrative styles and like blending them together perfectly. So the fact that he's writing, this new Superman movie, immediately I'm on board. I'm just still kind of bummed out that it's not going to be Henry Superman. That's all. Oh, what's up, Dark Knight? Supreme, how do you feel about the JSA? Do you have a problem with them being back due to a lot of them being old? I really like the JSA. My problem with them is that I feel like ever since, even before Jeff Johns' run on JSA, way back in the 90s when Mark Waid was writing Flash, and you have Jay Garrick kind of acting as this Obi-Wan Kenobi to Wally West's Flash 3. All those JSA characters, they're just like figureheads, or like, talking heads to illustrate legacy, the theme of the story, and my involvement in this story, and my involvement in the DC universe really at this point is legacy. And that's just kind of all they've really been relegated to. They don't feel like characters anymore. And that's like my big problem with the JSA. I don't feel like anyone like really has anything to say with them that's really interesting. They're just brought back every couple years for nostalgia purposes. But I really like the JSA as Justice League alternative. That's one of the things I really liked about Earth 2, or I guess Earth 2 Society. Same continuity. But when DC Comics rebooted their entire line in 2011 with the New 52, and we had the main Earth, which is the home of the Justice League, but you had Earth 2, where we kind of saw like all the Golden Age heroes kind of like modernized and reimagined. It was really cool seeing the JSA there, kind of like act as the Justice League of their respective universe. I thought that was really cool. That book was also extremely slept on. I'm not sure if you, Supreme in particular, but this goes for anybody. I'm not sure if you guys have checked out the Dynamite Comics like relaunches of the pulp superheroes from the 1930s and 40s. They're all public domain characters, but Earth 2 in the New 52 felt a lot like the Dynamite Comics Project Superpowers stories. They felt very pulpy, and there is this there's just kind of feel of a yesteryear style story told today. That's what I think JSA needs, but unfortunately they're just kind of mired in, hey kids, do you remember 1942? Like, Jesus. Supreme, I know I'm gonna get pushback, but I don't like Batman Hush. I don't know why you get pushback from that. That just means you're a sane and rational human being. Sorry. But let's see. To me, a lot of the problems with modern Batman are rooted in Hush. Hush is the start of a decline in Batman, only worth it because of Jim Lee's art. I do agree. I think I think Hush is carried by Jim Lee's art. As for the story, much like Dark Victory, I feel, and much like a lot of the stuff that Jeff Loeb wrote after Long Halloween, Hush just feels like Long Halloween but shorter. Except I think Dark Victory is longer than Long Halloween, but still, it everything that Jeff Loeb kind of wrote after Long Halloween is just Long Halloween 2.0 for Batman. And I don't know. There's a lot going on in Hush that I just don't think works. You have a whole mystery where it's obvious who the villain is. You have the whole thing with Batman acting completely out of character. Like, Bruce is like a dorky man-child, but like not in a cool way. Which is weird to say, but like when you read some of the like Denny O'Neil and Mike Barr and like a lot of the Batman comics from like the 80s into the 90s, Batman is still very much a man-child, but I don't know, he's not pathetic, which is like the difference between Batman and his villains. Like, Batman's villains are emotionally stunted man children and like female children and like women children, but like they're pathetic, and Bruce Wayne isn't. And I don't know if Jeff Loeb is aware that he's writing Batman as like a pathetic man-child, or maybe he is. I mean, there's a whole bit in Hush where Bruce is fighting Tommy in the Batcave, and like all the cars are like crashing down around them. Or is that Heart of Hush? I don't remember. No, that's Hush, because that's Jim Lee's art, right? Right? I wish I had those comics still. I gave them away a long time ago. I like had a whole rage quit with Hush as a character. I was like, this sucks. I'm getting this shit out of my house. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't like Hush. I really don't like Hush. More power to people who do like that comic and that character, but I'm not a fan. Oh no! I scrolled too aggressively. Damn it, I do this all the time. Toby says, because for me, I would really like to see more of Henry Cavill as Superman. Yeah, me too. But we were just talking about that earlier. Yeah. It sucks, man. It really sucks. You know what Henry Cavill should do? Dude should just dye his hair blonde, go to Marvel Comics, and then play Miracle Man instead. I take that back because I said it out loud, but now that I think about it, that would mean Marvel Studios would be making a Miracle Man movie. I don't want that. Never mind. I rescind that statement. But in a perfect world, Henry Cavill would be a great Miracle Man. I mean, really, now that I think about it, Man of Steel and BVS, and even Zack Snyder's Justice League a little bit, are kind of leaning into that like kind of gods amongst men like idea from Miracle Man, and how superheroes just have like a completely different perspective on the world around us than like people do. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. in an ideal world, Henry Cavill will be playing Michael Moran, but yeah, I don't want to see that at Marvel Studios. I really don't want to see that at Marvel Studios. Yeah, it would have been cool to see Man of Steel 2. But we did get Bizarro on Lois and Clark, or I guess Superman and Lois. I like the design. You know, I saw some clips on YouTube where he does the backwards Bizarro talk, but everyone from Bizarro World talks like a record is being played backwards. I think that's a really fascinating idea, but I don't know, just the rest of season 2 so boring and such a step down from season 1, which I already liked season 1 but didn't love season 1. I don't know. Oh, Jonathan Cryer is going to be Lex Luthor in Superman and Lois. That's cool. Omega. Silver Age Superman was like a father figure symbol of the 50s, and that was the reason why he was boring and dull. And Superman needs to be more sexy and young, like they made him in the early 2000s. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, you might be like taking the piss out of me, and trying to coax me into having a a Joe Quesada One More Day moment, but no, I definitely agree. I think one of the things that frustrates me about the perception of Superman is that everyone kind of looks at him as this like patriarchal figure, and I don't see him that way. Like Superman's not your dad. Superman is the guy at your school who is good at sports and good at pretty much everything he does, and you can't even be mad at him because he's like a good guy on top of all of that. Like, that's who Superman is. He's just a guy who, if you said, hey, you want to hang out? He'd be like, yeah, I'll be your friend. Cool, totally. You know? Like, Superman's, like, one of the few superheroes that is, like, actually a relatable person. And I think when people just kind of, like, project, like, fatherhood onto him, he kind of gets boring. But I do like how, and when I say fatherhood, I don't mean like actual fatherhood. Like, people project the idea of fatherhood onto him. That's when it gets boring. But what I think the current era of the character is kind of avoiding is, even though they've actually pushed him into the patriarch role and having a family of his own now, Philip Kennedy Johnson's doing this really fascinating thing where he has Superman reveling in the highs of being a father, but also the lows of being a father. And there's this like really interesting pathos that Clark has now, where he feels like he's not the father he should be. He feels like he failed his son. He feels like he failed his wife. He feels like he's like not doing enough, which I think is very fascinating. You know, I'm really kind of liking what Johnson's doing with the status quo of Superman as a father right now. I'm really kind of interested in where that's all going. And in a way, it's kind of doing what a lot of the Silver Age Superman comics were doing, but better? I know that's like heresy for a lot of Superman fans, but I made a whole video about this. I don't like Silver Age Superman, and that's not for lack of trying. I have a bunch of like Superman in the 50s and the 60s like trades over here that I just don't like them. I just don't like the stories. I like the world around those stories, but like I don't like that take on Superman at all. Dark Knight. Any expectations for Joshua Williamson Superman? No. I mean, I talked about this last week. I am not a fan of Superman the Animated Series, and that is kind of what Joshua Williamson is using as the selling point for what he's going for. But it's okay. I'm sure that when he says he's riffing off of Superman the Animated Series, he's saying that in the same way that like Scott Snyder would often talk about Batman the Animated Series being the foundation for his run on Batman. I'm not the biggest fan of the Snyder run on Batman, but I do appreciate it. I do like the tone that it has. I like his voice for the characters. And I mean, if that's what Williamson is doing with his run on Superman, then I'm down. You know, I'm totally down. James Gunn gave us Starro the Conqueror in live action. Yeah, yes, and that again, he gave us Starro the Conqueror in live action in the same movie where he had a total like anti-prison industrial complex message in his film. So he can do the crazy silly stuff, but also like the real world stuff. So I think he's perfect for a superhero movie, or much rather a Superman movie. But yeah, super movie in general too. Question: how do you feel about the JSA in the New 52 Earth 2 series? I talked about it earlier. I really liked it. It felt a lot like the Project Superpowers comics that Dynamite did throughout the early 2000s. Really good stuff. I was like, I'm a big fan of it. I haven't gotten to the Tom Taylor parts yet, but I've been told the Tom Taylor era takes everything from Earth 2 and or I guess like what the book was doing at the time and improves on it. So I'm really looking forward to getting deeper into that material. And it kind of sucks that like I ignored it when it was coming out, because it is so much my vibe, you know. I'm like a big fan of like pulp science fiction and stuff like that, and like the pulp occult style of storytelling. So if you're into that, I would definitely recommend the New 52 Earth 2 series. But if you're not, you're not missing much. Omega says, what's your opinion on Livewire? She's underrated. Does she deserve better? I do think Livewire deserves better. The problem with Livewire is the problem that a lot of characters in Marvel and DC have, where I think Livewire is a more relevant character now than she's ever been. The problem is, will the writers and editors recognize that? Or will they just default to what everyone kind of like knows and loves and is familiar with through pop culture? I had a whole pitch for Livewire in my Superman video game pitch, where I kind of threw out the idea of Livewire kind of being this like a shoe on head style YouTuber, um, where like her whole shtick is like reacting to Superman like videos and like doing all these like hit piece like videos on Superman, going like, yeah, fuck this guy, blah blah blah. Not that Shield Head is like that, but you know, I actually haven't watched Shield Head video in like forever, but I haven't felt the need to. So, but there are a lot of like female YouTubers who are a part of the internet outrage culture YouTube sphere, and I don't know. I think it'll be really interesting to kind of update Livewire to be one of those types of content creators, you know, because we don't really have radio show hosts anymore. We don't, like, I mean, Howard Stern still exists, but Howard Stern was like grandfathered into the current era of like podcasts and whatnot. But yeah, no, I definitely think making Livewire like a Twitch streamer or something like that, where like she talks about superhero politics and, you know, does like hit pieces on Superman and shit like that. I think that would be the perfect way to update her character, but will anyone do that? I don't know. But yeah, I would definitely like to see more done with Livewire. Supreme, do you feel the JSA worked better in Earth 2 pre-crisis? Yes. Yes, I do. Because having the Justice Society act as the heroes of old, and you know, the JLA act as, you know, the contemporary heroes. One, it feels like a slap in the face to the JSA. It's like, well, you're old, you're irrelevant, you are over there, and you get to be the crazy grandpa who talks at Christmas, who, like, you know, gives the Christmas dinner grace, and is relevant when we want you to be relevant, but you're over there. I don't know, it kind of feels disrespectful. I much prefer the idea of the Earth 2 I much prefer the idea of Earth 2 being the home of the JSA, so that way they can like get an equal amount of like respect as heroes in their own right, who are like still in the fight. Yeah. Tavia, question: do you believe the New 52 getting rid of the JSA was a good idea or bad? Well, I don't think they got rid of the JSA. They just had them exist in another timeline, where ironically, the Justice League died and then the JSA took their place. But yeah, no, I like the idea of the Justice Society existing in a parallel Earth. Heart of Hush is the superior story. My man, yes, culture. You are cultured, man of culture. You are. Yeah, Heart of Hush. I don't think retroactively makes Hush a better story, but it does make me hate Hush a little less. I'll say it like that. Toby says, question: did you see the Batman Hush animated movie? I did. Oh, you didn't like it? I really enjoyed it. For me, it fixed a lot of the problems that I had with Hush. I'm gonna be honest. And I also think it's like one of the like 4 or 5 movies in that DC animated movie universe that was like actually good. um, I liked it, you know. But I do get why some people who like really do like the Hush comic weren't fans of it. It's kind of like if somebody who is used to eating well done steak trying a medium rare steak for the first time. You know, probably not gonna like it, but you know. How would you fix modern Batman? Well, thankfully, I don't have to fix modern Batman. Chip Zdarsky's doing that for me. Seriously, is anybody else reading Chip Zdarsky's Batman right now? I feel like it's weird. I feel like nobody's talking about it, despite the fact that it's a Batman book, and Batman tends to be the highest selling comic on the shelves, but yeah, nobody's talking about Chip Zdarsky's Batman. And I think this is the best Batman's been in a long time. Like, no, this book's great. It's taking the fantastical elements of like the Silver and Bronze Age, and like kind of like bringing them back to the character. You know, like kind of saying like, yeah, no, like Batman is he's a cool detective dude who can do a lot of really weird, cool shit because he lives in a universe where. I just like that Chip Zdarsky is like fully embracing that like Batman exists in a crazy sci-fi fantasy universe where his best friend is an alien and his like other friends are basically analogs for the Greek gods. I like that Zdarsky's leaning into that. And it's kind of funny reading the Zdarsky run. I feel like from the late 80s, really the early 90s, through the like the late 2000s, Batman comics are very reserved. You know, they are dark and gritty and oppressive, and you know. They're kind of looking back on like all the stuff from like the 50s and 60s and the 70s and going like, that's so gross. It's all Silver Age Adam West bullshit. Just ignore that. But between Grant Morrison, between even like Scott Snyder, between definitely Tom King, which people tend to forget about, but definitely Tom King. And now Zdarsky, we've kind of seen the Batman title like horseshoe a bit, you know, like went from no, Batman has to be dark and gritty, dark and gritty, dark and gritty. You know, let's bring back some of that Silver Age stuff that was pretty fun. And now Batman is falling off of the surface of the moon and initiating a manned re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. And he just lands perfectly fine. Unscathed. Batman's just built different. Like, we've gone all the way back to the 60s here. And I'm for it. I am 1,000,000% for it. Like, what was that? Batman issue 130? Yeah, that was nothing but some Adam West bullshit. And I loved it. I loved it. Yes. Yes. Dark and gritty Batman's cool, you know, with the body armor and the beating dudes up in a subway going like, I'm vengeance. That's cool. But I also want to see Batman do some like crazy science fiction, impossible bullshit shenanigans. That's my Batman. I love that Batman, and I'm glad that Chip Zdarsky's playing with that Batman. Uh, um, uh, what about Henry Cavill as the Century? Eh. My The reason I kind of don't want to see Henry Cavill go to Marvel is because I feel like he would not be properly utilized. That's like my biggest kind of fear. Um, because a lot of the MCU movies just aren't narratively satisfying for me. Like they're fun, like action movies. They're fun blockbusters for the most part, but most of the time I just kind of like leave the theater feeling like I ate some candy, but like not even good candy, like bargain brand, like knockoff candy that is replicating candy that I do like. Um, but I don't know. Don't give Marvel any ideas. They probably already are thinking about it. Did you see the Super Sons animated movie? I did see the Super Sons animated movie. I liked it a lot. It was really fun. We finally got to see John Kent as like a kid again, and I knew I missed it. Like I knew I missed seeing John Kent as a kid, but I didn't realize how much I missed it until I saw that movie and was like, holy shit, I like aging John Kent was a mistake. Why did DC let Bendis do that? What? I don't know. Nope. I'm not going down that rabbit hole again. But dude, just pain. Nothing but pain. Supreme says, on Murderer and Fugitive, I feel like the story is a transitional event because it has the last traces of the O'Neill editorial influence, but I feel the story has the first signs of the ultra paranoid Bat Jerk. Well, honestly, I feel like the ultra paranoid Bat Jerk goes back even further than that. I think it goes back to like Tower of Babel, where Mark Waid retcons that Batman has plans to murder all of his friends. Like, okay. Batman being this, like, master planner tactician is one thing. Having him literally, like, just actively thinking about how he's going to kill his friends and comrades and brothers in arms, that is a step too far for me. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Granted, Mark Waid was building off of the tone and characterization and I guess dynamic systems that were established post-Crisis, where Batman's kind of this like curmudgeon who kind of like he plays everything close to the vest, and he doesn't want to be too friendly with these super gods. Superman's over there, and I'm gonna look at him like this and cross my arms and just I'm gonna grunt the entire time. So Mark Waid's like building off of that, but I don't know. Bat Jerk really starts there, I think. And I think just kind of like spirals further and further down a rabbit hole of assholery as the years went on. And even though Batman's kind of not been that really since Grant Morrison's run on Batman with Batman and Son back in 2006, the effects of Bat Jerk are still lingering, I think. And I don't know, it's I'm not a fan of that characterization either. Supreme says, I know you are a New 52 defender, but you have to admit that giving creative teams only 3 to 4 months to wrap up their stories is not a great situation. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The New 52, again, I still think the New 52 was a great idea. I think it was a great concept. It was just executed terribly. Narratively as well as editorially. Is that a word? Am I just making shit up? Am I making up words? I don't know. But yeah, no, like that. Part of the reason why I think New 52 was such a narrative blunder, and why a lot of those stories feel kind of half baked, is because they were half baked. Because writers weren't given enough time to like fully flesh out an idea. Because most of those creators were still trying to wrap up the ideas that they were told they had to, like, you gotta stop, you gotta end it right here. You got 2 more issues. All the plot lines that you're building towards, wrap it up right now. They needed a solid year to really, like, I guess, build through that whole reboot. Just oof. What a complete disaster. A disaster they're still reeling from. Oh, you're honored. Well, I'm honored that you're honored. Chip's Batman has been amazing. Clearly took pages from Morrison. Oh, definitely. That's a book that I actually do want to review at some point. Not Morrison, but yes, Morrison. I do want to review Batman R.I.P. at some point. But yeah, you guys are gonna see a review from me from about Chip Zdarsky's Batman in the coming weeks. Not weeks, more like months, because there's other things I want to talk about that I think are a little more pressing. Omega. Why no writer knows what to do with Jimmy Olsen? Because Jimmy Olsen is a vestige of a bygone era. That's why. Jimmy Olsen does not work given the modern character philosophy of approaching Superman. The character was created back when Superman was this larger than life figurehead, this patriarchal figure who is so grand, and he operates on such a large scale that the average person just can't relate to him, you know? So you needed an eyes-in character. You needed a POV, and Jimmy Olsen was the POV. He was Superman's pal. He was the sidekick. But post John Byrne, post the, I'll say, Peter Parkerification of Clark Kent as a character, Jimmy is kind of superfluous. Like, I don't need an eyes-in character to Superman's world when Clark Kent already is the eyes-in character. And that just kind of leaves Jimmy as being the annoying kid who shows up and trips over his shoelaces and screams, "Hi, Mr. Kent! I'm gonna take your picture!" Like, why is this character here? I don't know. Jimmy's charming, you know. It's nice seeing him show up and stuff, but he doesn't really serve a purpose anymore. That said, I did really enjoy the Superman's Pal Jimmy Olsen series, which was written by Matt Fraction. That was hilarious. That was absolutely fantastic. But that's one story out of the how many appearances Jimmy Olsen's had since 1987. Toby says, why does the main Superman book keep getting bad stories, like the Bendis, horrible treatment? Well, let's walk that back a little bit. I don't think Superman's stuck getting bad stories. In fact, I think the bulk of Superman comics over the past 20 years have been pretty consistently good. City of Tomorrow is really good. That's the whole, like, I guess the waning years of the Triangle era, where Superman had like 8 books that all connected with one another. Good idea in theory, but sorry, I'm like, ugh. I hope I don't have a cold. I hope I don't have a cold. Oh, dude, that would suck. My manager was sick yesterday, and he came in today and yesterday. Oh, I hope I'm not sick. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, it's gonna suck so hard. Fuck, I forgot what I was saying. Let me see. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with whatever I was saying. Oh, yeah, we were talking about Superman being terrible. No, I disagree with you, Tevye. I think Superman has been pretty consistently good in comics for quite a long time. Like, just look at the past, like, decade, you know, from the New 52 onward. New 52 has Action Comics by Grant Morrison and Rags Morales. That run is fantastic. Then Andy Diggle picks up the book with Tony Daniel. That run's also really good. Not as good as Morrison's, I don't think, but still really good. And then you have Aaron Cooter and Greg Pak kind of picking up what Morrison was putting down with, I guess, like, still playing with the idea of like a Golden Age Superman in a modern era. We also had Superman Unchained by Scott Snyder and Jim Lee, and that was a really fun story. And that's just like New 52 stuff. We also got like American. You're talking like the main Superman books. Oh no, you didn't say main Superman book. You just said Superman in general. Then yeah. Oh, that also I guess includes like the Superman Adventure stories, which DC was publishing around that New 52 era. Still really good, and also a good alternative to what the New 52 was doing. American Alien was also great. And then we get Lois and Clark by Dan Jurgens and Lee Weeks. That book was really fun. Or at least I'm told that was really fun. I still haven't read it myself. But a lot of positive buzz there. And then after that, we get Superman Rebirth, which a lot of people fell in love with, myself included. And now we have the current era with Philip Kennedy Johnson, and it's been fantastic so far. And then Joshua Williamson is gonna be doing a Superman book. So yeah, I think Superman's been in good hands. Superman's been. We've had a lot of banger Superman stories just in this past decade alone. I don't know. Like, sure, Bendis was bad. Yeah, some of the New 52 events and stuff like that, like Hell on Earth and all that crap, was terrible. But I don't know, like the ratio of good to bad Superman stories, again, just in the past 10 years. But I'm sure if we expand that timeline to like the past, 20 or even 30, the ratio of good Superman stories to bad Superman stories definitely favors good Superman stories. Like that character ain't thirsting for good content. Superman fans ain't in a drought. They're not like Green Lantern fans who are starving. How do you feel about the upcoming Flash movie? I don't care. Honestly, I don't care about anything in the DC EU or DC movie universe moving forward. Now that we kind of know for a fact that DC's rebooting, I don't really see a point in watching Blue Beetle, which hurts my feelings because I was really excited for that movie and I like Jaime Reyes as a character, but I mean, assuming I like the movie, it's not like it's gonna get a sequel, Just like Shazam. I like Shazam. The first Shazam movie is really fun. Fury of the Gods also looks really fun, but I mean, if this is like the last time we're gonna see the Shazam family on screen, well then what's the point? Same with Aquaman. Like, Aquaman could be cool, but if the universe is getting rebooted, I don't see a point. I don't see a point in like seeing any of these other DC movies coming out next year if the universe is going to be overhauled. I don't know. Supreme says, also on Batman, I missed the Reborn Incorporated era. I wish the New 52 hadn't cut it so short and neutered it. That was the last time I cared about the Bat family. Yeah, I think the Bat family really suffered as a whole post Flashpoint. And honestly, I don't think they've fully recovered. Like at best, and what is this era called? Like Infinite Frontier, or like the New Age of DC, whatever the fuck. The Bat family feels like a pale imitation of what it was before the New 52. It feels like an echo of what was, but I don't know. It's not the same. It's not the same. What do you think of the New 52 Earth 2 superfamily? Clark Kent as a normal reporter without superpowers, Lois as a cyborg, Red Tornado, and Power Girl as their daughter. That would make a great book. Oh wait, no, Clark Kent was Clark ever like depowered? like, I know Lois becomes Red Tornado, and I know Power Girl is like technically their daughter, but not technically their daughter. She is their daughter, but I thought Earth 2 Superman was evil. Did you just spoil Earth 2 for me? Son of a bitch, what? What? No, I'm kidding. But, oh. Yeah, like, I just got to the part where, like, Superman is evil in, Earth 2. Or, like, the evil kind of, like, ominous, knight-looking character, who's, like, he has a name that everyone calls him. I can't remember what it is. But, yeah, you find out that, like, he's a version of Superman that got corrupted by the anti-life equation. I didn't know like, he gets depowered at some point. I thought he just died, but I guess I'm wrong there. I'll have to read and see what's up. If not Jimmy, who should be Superman's pal? I don't know, his wife, his son, his brother clone, Steel. Like, there are a lot of characters in the Superman family who are confidants to Clark Kent. Like, again, that's why I keep saying I think Jimmy Olsen he's a superfluous character at this point. Like, we don't need him. He's only there because he's Jimmy Olsen and he has to be there. Question: do you believe Nifty 2 Superman could have been saved? Because for me, I thought he was super broken, so killing him was the best option. In the same way that I think that killing John Kent is the best option, but you refuse to admit that I'm right. Now I don't know. I still think it was like a bitch move to kill New 52 Superman and just replace him with post-crisis Superman. I still think that was kind of lame, but fuck am I gonna do about it now? Like, it's been like 5 or 6 years at this point. Like, who cares? But yeah, I definitely think it could have been saved. You know, not that like the character needed that much saving. Like, just get a good writer on the books, and I think people will be all right with him. Supreme says before the New 52. In the Reborn Incorporated era, Tim, Steph, and Cass actually felt like adults. Tim was almost 18, Steph was in college, and Cass was becoming her own Batman. I miss that. Yeah, well, that's the problem that I have with not just the Bat family, but that's a problem that I have with the DC Universe legacy right now. I feel like that Young Justice generation, you know, the generation who were sidekicks, in, like the 90s and the 2000s, they never really had a chance to like grow into proper adults, like the previous generation of sidekicks did. You know, the Dick Grayson, Wally West, Tempest, Aqualad, Donna Troy, era sidekick superheroes. We got to watch them grow up from like the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, where we watched them like grow into heroes in their own right. Either that or take on the mantles of their mentors who'd fallen. We didn't really get to see that with the Young Justice generation. And that's why I think a lot of what we're seeing with those characters right now rings kind of hollow, because in that failure to watch these characters kind of progress into like the next stage of their lives, there was also, okay, hold on a second. How do I word this? So New 52 happens, right? Everyone's kind of like, made younger, but like not really. And that extended to the Young Justice generation of teen superheroes. But there's also a generation of sidekicks that was emerging after the Young Justice generation was kind of making that transition into being heroes in their own right just before the New 52. This is where we got Blue Beetle, you know? This is where we got some of the new teen superheroes that were being introduced, like it was one of the Green Lanterns, I think Power Ring. And there's just a couple others, but like, the Young Justice generation didn't get a chance to grow up properly, and the heroes who were part of the generation after them, like, barely got their feet off the ground. But now DC's trying to like fast track these new legacy of these new legacy heroes, while the old legacy heroes are still kids. It's weird. It's so weird. DC fucked up their entire legacy. It's all broken and weird. Doesn't make sense at all. But at least Batman, Superman are doing good. At least they're doing all right. Scream says, besides reviving Jason, I feel reverting Barbara into Batgirl again in the New 52 also damaged the Bat family. Oracle was a key part of what made the Bat family work. I agree. 1,000,000%. I don't know, just having Barbara put the bat suit back on and basically just have her be dollar store Stephanie Brown Batgirl it's weird. It's weird. I don't like, what the like, what was the point of that? Like, really, what was the point of that? I don't get it. Superman, Wonder Woman. Does it work, or is it broken? Like Superman and Wonder Woman dating? I actually like it as an idea for like a younger, like year one era Superman and Wonder Woman, as long as it's not the end game, I think it's a pretty good relationship to explore. Question. So Tevi says, question, before I go, how do you feel about Baby Mayday Parker Spider-Girl being in Across the Spider-Verse? Because for me, I'm super excited to see that character, or my favorite character in animation. Okay, so the Spider-Verse trailer was... Alright, I'm gonna paint this picture. So, when the Spider-Verse trailer dropped, I was at work, and I'm on my break. I'm looking at this trailer, and as soon as it's over, I am immediately shitting, coming, throwing up, just absolutely besides myself with the prospect of Sony Pictures Animation having a better idea of what Spider-Man fans want than Marvel Comics. Because everything that everyone is cheering for, everything that everyone is, jumping up and down and clapping their hands and twerking with their ball sacks over with the Spider-Verse trailer, is the return of Peter B. Parker, and the revelation that he is now a father. Mayday Parker is his daughter, and apparently he's patched things up with MJ, and they're married again. And this is everything that Spider-Man comic book fans have been begging for the past 15 years. And it's everything that Marvel Comics editorial has been swearing up and down. Nobody wants to see that. Who wants to see Peter Parker grow up and be an adult and, be a loving husband and father? Who wants to see that? Who wants to see this character who's literally all about growth and change? Grow and change. Why do that when we could just rehash stories from 1972? Beside myself. Absolutely freaking beside myself. Sony Pictures has a better idea of what Spider-Man fans want than Marvel Comics. What a fucking world. I don't know if this is the best timeline or the worst timeline. But it is an interesting one. It's for damn sure an interesting one. It was also cool seeing Miguel O'Hara in that trailer. And I did notice there's a frame where Miguel apparently has a daughter or something. I don't know. Maybe it's his niece. I don't know. Miguel has a little girl in there, and it was kind of weird. There's some weird stuff going on in the Spider-Verse movies. They also had a black Jessica Drew, which is weird. And I know a lot of people are playing you're a racist if you don't like the fact that Jessica Drew is a black woman. What's wrong with that? Well, for starters, Jessica, her parents are Hydra agents. She was born and raised in Eastern Europe by Nazis. So unless this Jessica Drew comes from a universe where the Nazis are from fucking Senegal or some shit, then that, I don't know, it's a little weird seeing a black Jessica Drew. That's all I'm saying. But then it gets into that whole thing where, because it's a multiverse movie, anything goes. Why not have Jessica Drew be black? Why not have Miguel O'Hara have a daughter? Who says that that's the real Peter Parker over there? Who says that's the real Jessica Drew or the real Gwen Stacy or the real Miles Morales. Because it's the multiverse and there are infinite possibilities, these characters could just be facsimiles of other characters that are more familiar and more in line with what we're traditionally accustomed to with the comics. So I don't know. The Spider-Verse movies are kind of weird in that, you know, and that's why it's always kind of difficult to, I guess, critique those films when they do something that I guess disagree with in terms of characterization or world building, philosophy, or whatever the fuck, or even just basic stuff like character design. Like I remember I had a whole thing with the first Spider-Verse movie where I didn't like that the Peter Parker from Miles Morales' dimension had like a whole freaking bat cave under Aunt May's house. That felt a bit too far for me. But in that universe, Spider-Man does have a bat cave under Aunt May's house. Whereas Peter B. Parker, who is a more familiar version of the character, who reflects more of the classic 616 comics version of the character, doesn't have all that fancy shit. He's just regular old Peter Parker. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I guess critiquing those films for stuff like that when the whole point is that it's a multiverse and that there's different weird versions of these characters everywhere, and we're just kind of like getting a glimpse into, I guess these characters' lives. I don't know. Omega, you've deleted like 4 messages. What's up? Why is this? I mean, I'll answer your question, but like, yeah, do you want me to? I mean, I can answer it, but like, I won't if you don't want me to. If you don't feel comfortable asking it. Oh, phone. Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, I did see your question from earlier. You're asking like, why is the super family so underutilized? I think it's kind of simple. It's the same reason why some of the more I'll say fantastical elements of Batman's lore and history up until recent years has been omitted, and it just goes back to DC being ashamed of their Silver Age history. I think I think a lot of that goes back to DC actively running away from, running away, trying to distance themselves from what most people perceive DC Comics as, which is the silly, over-the-top, fantastical one between Marvel and DC, respectively. And I think that's why the super family is just not really used in a lot of material. I think that's really why. But yeah. All right. Well, I've been going for like an hour and 30 minutes. Let me hype up some of the comics that I got this week. Let's see. All right. So, first of all, here we have Starhenge issue number 6 by Liam Sharp. I have not read this issue yet. I actually didn't get a chance to read any of the comics that I bought this week, except for one. No, I take that back. 2 comics to read this week. I've really been focusing on like reading Akira, because I got that entire box set collection like 6 months ago, and I haven't read them yet. So I want to try to get my money's worth from that purchase. So I'm kind of behind in some of my like my floppies, but I did get a chance to read issue 5, and I am extremely excited to read this. I'm loving Starhenge. Still one of my favorite science fiction books coming out right now. And guys, if you're not reading this, get on it. Get on it. Do it now. Do it. The next book I picked up is I think probably the biggest book of the week, and that is Batman Spawn. Now this is a one-shot, I believe, and I picked up the Gabriel Delato cover because, guys, look at it. It's Gabriel Delato. Wait, wait. Let me try to find. Is there no glare? All right, there's still some glare, but I don't know. I hope you guys can see it. It looks dope. But I was originally gonna get the Sean Murphy cover, but this is beautiful. As for the story, well, it's written by Todd McFarlane, so you can for damn sure be aware that all the things that people know and love and have popularized is definitely in this story, because Todd has an eye for what the people want. So you got the Court of the Owls here. You got Batman fighting a Joker with his face cut off, because that's, death of the family Joker, and that was like really popular a couple years ago. Also, the art is done by Greg Capullo, so the book looks fucking immaculate. Like, every page you turn to, there's just something grotesque and beautiful. Some would say beautifully grotesque. That just kind of greets your eyes. So, the book is cool, superficially. As for the story, I haven't really read through it, if I'm gonna be honest. But, I don't really feel like a major incentive to do that. But come on, I knew what I was gonna get myself into when I bought this, and so far it's delivering on everything that I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I can't be mad at it. Oh yeah, you can totally recommend my videos on your community tab. Do it. Go for it. I encourage it, actually. Yeah, go ham. Thank you. The next book I picked up is Grimm by Stephanie Phillips and Flaviano. I am behind on this. I only read up to issue 4, but I'm really enjoying this series so far. And I don't know, I don't really know what else to say beyond what I've said already. It's a good looking series. If you like kind of like occult horror, um, and like epic fantasy, this is that. You know, this is definitely that. This also feels like a Ghost reference. In fact, this might just be the band Ghost. I don't know. But you know, this book's really cool, and I'm definitely glad I'm giving it a shot. I did see the trade came out today, so I might end up like just like committing to reading it in trade while I collect the floppies, but that seems a bit redundant, so I don't know why I would do that. But yeah, no, Grimm's still a fun book. I think I'm behind, but again, I like the first 4 issues, so I'm definitely gonna try to get catch up after this video at least. And the last comic that I picked up this week is A Vicious Circle by Mattson Tomlinson and Lee Bermejo. This is a book that I didn't know was coming out until I saw Mattson Tomlinson on Twitter say something about it 2 days ago. This comic was epic. In fact, this is like everything that I think comics can be. It's a time travel crime story that spans like I think 100 years. We go from the 1950s into the 2050s, and you have this detective. Well, at least I think he's a detective. I only really skimmed the. I skimmed the issue. I haven't had a chance to like read it in depth yet. But to be fair, in my defense, look at the art. Come on, man. Give me a break. I wasn't much looking at the word bubbles. I was kind of just like looking at the pretty pictures because Lee Bermejo is an absolute beast. Who also changes up his art style in this book quite dramatically, and he does it to illustrate a change in the decade. So you can always tell like whenever we've like properly time traveled, based on what the art looks like. You know, like there's a lot of thought put into the aesthetic and world building of this book. It's really well done. If you haven't checked out, if you haven't like bought this, you definitely should. Yeah, no, I was really into it when I read it. Or I guess flipped through it. But yeah, no. Yeah, I guess like yeah, those are all the books I read this week. And yeah, I think I'm gonna follow Tevye on this. I'm probably gonna call it a night. I still have a video that I'm like trying to edit. I didn't want to have like 2 videos out earlier, but I just kind of I was doing a whole video on Jason Todd, but I just kind of like called it quits halfway through. It just kind of felt not great. So I'm moving on to a new video where I talk about bad guys. So, you know, hopefully you guys can check that out throughout the week, whenever I upload that. But in the meantime, guys, thanks for watching. Always a pleasure to have y'all come by and, you know, chat comics. And I will definitely be seeing y'all next week. Yeah, as always, until next time, adios nachos, adios.